Hey, it's time for another Film Threat watch party. This one, we're going to see Adventures of Power with Ari Gold and a bunch of special guests. Welcome to the Film Threat watch party for Adventures of Power with our very special guest, Ari Gold. Ari Gold is here, and I'm so excited that he's joining us today to watch his classic film, from 2008, which I didn't even realize it's been that long.
I put the headband on for you.
You did. I love it, man. I love it.
It's like putting on the robes. If I left the priesthood and I decided to put the robes back on, this would be that big moment.
Nice. Well,
did it for you, Chris.
I'm happy to have you here. I'm happy that you're sharing your movie for free on your website it's arigoldfilms.com. Is that right?
Well, no, we're actually, it's for sale, but today, for those who are joining us today, we're pretending we're all in a living room. So
right.
Those who watch it today can watch it for free at arigold.tv.
arigold.tv. All right. I'm going to add that. I'm going to change this. I can, you know what I can do? I can edit this. Or you know what? I'll create a new banner. Let's invite some other guests on. Jay Ponte is part of the Ari Gold team. He's part of Team Ari Gold. And Jay, are you there? As you know, and consistent with every Zoom chat, consistent with every watch party, consistent with all these things, there will be technical issues that we will experience along the way.
There will be blood.
There will be blood. Okay, so you can see Adventures of Power at arigold.tv.
Yes, just for today.
Just for today only. So if you're watching this,
when you tell your friends, you're going to tell your friends to go to adventuresofpower.com and purchase it with all the bonus features. There's almost like 3 hours of bonus features, by the way.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah. Well, I think I reviewed the DVD when it was on, I think I did it on when it might have been G4. I did that. Wait, we have some comments. Comments are coming. Hey, let's throw out some comments. We got Steven C. Beer, big fan. John Wilkinson.
Hello, Mr. Beer.
Classic. This is great. We got these people on. Jay, what do you have to say, Jay? You've been very quiet.
I think that everybody who goes and buys the film, it will make you a better person.
Right. I don't know if people are talking, but
I think air drumming makes
for me. So
air drumming makes the world a better place.
Well, yeah, this is, I mean, the fun thing about this movie, it's like, maybe this is too simplified. It's like Flashdance for air drumming. You know, it's like that 80s Go For Your Dream movie that we all watched and was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. But this is Go For Your Dream, Go For Your Air Drumming.
If you want your life to be an 80s montage,
right.
Adventures of Power.
That's exactly it. Now, we've got some more special guests that are going to join us. I want to bring on the managing editor of Film Threat, Alan Ng, who's going to be monitoring the chat.
Yes.
Hello,
Ari. Hello, Jay.
Hi there.
He's going to be giving us updates. He's going to be adding to the conversation when I have to go pee, which will be frequently. We have another.
You want to share with the audience what's going on today, Chris?
What's that? Oh, well,
Your dedication.
I have a what's my dedication?
The fact that you're so dedicated.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I got out of the hospital last night late. I had an emergency appendectomy. I was in surgery. Oh my God. I was in surgery yesterday at midnight, and it was kind of weird. Was it yesterday at midnight or the day before? I don't remember. They had me on these pain pills. But yeah, no, I mean, and I was just like, we'd already kind of moved the date for scheduling reasons, whatever. I was like, we're not moving it. I'm just going to bring in my team who can help me out. We also have Anthony Ray Bench is joining us from the Film Threat podcast past, part of the Film Threat team. Look at this. Yeah, we could do one of those like, hey, there he is. Awesome. Anthony, who, is frequent guest on the Film Threat podcast, Star Wars and Marvel nerd like myself, and joining us on the watch party because he is a huge fan of you, Ari. He's a huge fan. Wait, I'm going to take
Yes.
these pain pills. We're going to make it interesting.
Can you send some of those to me?
Is that legal? Can you do that?
Ari, you were
did it.
actually on one of my favorite podcasts that we did, episode 24. I absolutely had a blast coming over and recording with you.
Under the tree.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
there were birds chirping. It was really neat.
yeah,
It was
it was fun. It was fun. That was for my other movie, Sway Lake.
Yeah, fantastic movie, and I actually wrote the review for that as well.
By the way, you guys keep freezing, so if I seem like a crazy person who doesn't reply, Anthony,
I'm going to take it
is,
personally.
from my view, frozen like this, and I think he's saying something.
Well, you're actually frozen for us, but I have no idea how it's going out. When you do these live streams,
Your audio is coming in perfect though.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear you perfect. So I actually have the movie queued up on my iPad. I have it like ready to go here. So we need to let people know we're going to watch Adventures of Power in about 5 or 10 minutes. But we're going to give you time. If you go to Ari Gold right now, go to arigold.tv.
Arigold.tv, a special link just for you guys and gals today. Arigold.tv.
You can all you got to do, I think you give your email and you get a copy of the soundtrack for free, which will be sent to you after, but you can watch it streaming only today during the live stream. If you're watching this later, actually you should watch it later as kind of a DVD commentary. I remember you telling me, Ari, when I reviewed the DVD, you told me that you recorded your DVD commentary for this movie in your car. Oh no, now I think we lost Ari. Okay, Ari, what you could do, Ari. Okay, did you hear what I said, Ari? I said you recorded the DVD commentary for this movie in your car.
Oh yes, it's true. Yeah, the DVD commentary. I think in Arizona. I think I was outside in the desert outside Phoenix. I like sleeping in my car, and I was like, oh, I got to send in a commentary. So I like put on the DVD on my laptop and recorded. Yeah. There's going to be a new DVD coming out later in the year, but all the bonuses are awesome. There's Lars Ulrich, interview with Neil Peart from Rush,
one of the all-time great drummers, Rush. From Rush.
The great deleted scene with Tim and Eric, which was recorded before Awesome Show.
Oh wow!
Nice.
Wow, I'm getting the thing queued up here. So everybody,
and actually,
assuming everyone else is.
I don't know if Chris froze for me, but I'll just keep talking.
Okay.
Someone wave if I'm talking at the same time as someone else.
Oh.
Don't do that.
Yeah, the
just when someone tells me to wave, I wave automatically.
Cole plays is named after a Tim and Eric short.
Oh wow,
that's a little tidbit of information because I had intended it for them to play, and then they were shooting Awesome Show their first season, so they couldn't do it. So then Nick Kroll did it and was amazing. Totally.
But I think what's funny is that was right before they did Tom Goes to the Mayor, which
they had already started, or they had already done Tom Goes to the Mayor.
That's what I'm saying. They'd already done that. They were just starting to do the other thing. A couple of other people making some comments here. Doug Blush says, "Hey, I'll be back on if I can." Delivering a doc right now, so we have people working on documentaries as they have this streaming in the background. DD Castile Way Hicks says, "Sounds great." I think sometimes, as long as it sounds good, anyone just post a comment if the audio, but I think that like for some of us, we see it differently. Like you'll freeze and maybe you're not frozen on my feed. As long as it's going out live,
Okay. Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah. We're interfering with Shabbat apparently.
Oh gosh. Oh no, I forgot. You know what can you do? What can you do? There's always something going on, but, well, I will say I'm going to do my best to stay on. I'm exhausted. You can hear in my voice, not 100%.
But you're not in the hospital, and that's good.
Not in the hospital. I mean, it's it's one of those things. A friend of mine actually who had his appendix burst said, "Go to the hospital now." It was really weird. I had the stomach ache that just wouldn't go away. It just got increasingly worse, and it's taken care of. It's fine, but I didn't want to reschedule this. So, I just wanted us to do it because, but Ari, you can come back and we can do your other film, Song of Sway Lake, the Song of Sway Lake.
Yeah.
Which would be
I think
great.
your tonsils are due at that point, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right. So when are we going to get started here? Is everybody?
Well, I'll just say a little bit, maybe. Should I do a little intro?
I want to hear a little intro. I want to hear your intro to the movie.
Chris is frozen. I don't know if did he say yes?
Yes.
Yeah, he said
Anthony's
yes.
still moving. No, Anthony now froze too.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone said yes. So Adventures of Power is a story about air drumming. On the surface, it's a rock and roll craziness. But what very few people at the time understood, although you guys at Film Threat did understand, is that it's a bigger story. It's a story about everything we care about. It's a story about finding your spirit within yourself. There's a really major political element to the movie. It's a political and a spiritual story that's masquerading as a silly comedy about air drumming, and some people got that and some didn't. And one somewhat gratifying thing, and one of the reasons I'm bringing the film back, other than that I finally got the rights back, but is that the film was ahead of its time. And it was a reference, stylistically a reference to the 80s, but it was ahead of its time in that people didn't really get the heartfelt comedy aspect to it. They were expecting like a gross out comedy or a cynical comedy, a mean-spirited comedy. And this is a really, this is a movie about the heart leading the way, about the heartbeat and about drumming and what that means. And at the time, it was kind of attacked. Not everywhere. You guys were really helpful and said nice things about it, but there were a lot of reviewers. The majority of reviewers came out and attacked the movie and said it was, terrible piece of shit. And one reviewer at Sundance said that I had the directorial skills and the acting skills of a bowl of cottage cheese. Another one said that they hoped my sister would get cancer. I mean, it was really bad.
That's funny because we're doing a future watch party with cottage cheese. So that is going to be coming up on a future watch party, cottage cheese.
Good.
So I don't know.
Sign me up for that one too.
Could have been a compliment. You don't know, but people really at Sundance say that. Oh my God.
Yeah. Really, it was crazy.
Hey, Wendy Horowitz joined.
Yeah, Sundance sucks. And hi, Chris Barrett. All the old team's back.
Oh, that's great.
So
that's
awesome. It was attacked, and I left the country, and I, in a way, experienced what Power experienced. That's kind of rejection, and I had to find the beat within myself because the world was saying you suck. It was a really interesting spiritually that I went through what Power went through, but after I made the movie. So the message of the movie also had to bring me back. And I, after a few years, was biking in Brooklyn once, and it was when phones just started being able to play movies. I had put the movie on YouTube because it was sort of unavailable. And I was like, oh, okay, a couple dozen of people see it. So I was the one who was like, no, right, maybe I'll watch my movie. Just I'm biking and watch my movie, and I pulled over into a stairwell, and I was like, this movie's fucking amazing. What the hell was I thinking? And what the hell was the world thinking? And I reconnected with the film after really feeling, terrible because the level of vitriol was so insane when it came out. So I fell back in love with it, and people like you guys who were supporters of it all along were really, really helpful. And I really will, this is why this is, we're going to be screening it every month and raising money for Music Cares, the Grammy music charity that supports musicians. And this is the inaugural first monthly screening. And of course I wanted to do it with you because I'll never forget the support. You guys spotted it before the rest of the world did. And I appreciate that.
Oh, wow. God, with that, I think we should all just start watching the movie and then commenting. Is everyone Everyone ready? You know, you're at arigold.tv. All you got to do is you put in your email address, and that gives you access to the film. And Ari will follow up with giving you a free copy of the soundtrack. I actually went and I registered, Ari, because I want to get the soundtrack. So cool. Everyone ready? Everyone have it up? And Ari, you've got it up as well?
Yes, I will. I guess I should pull it up as well.
Yeah, you got to pull it up. And then maybe just give us an air drum signal to like start.
Oh, so we should all start at the same time.
We all start at the same time.
Okay. I'm gonna get mine ready. So everyone get your fingers out.
My finger is on right above.
Get your air drumsticks out. Your air do a little spinning, spin the sticks around. And head for the play button. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start.
Here it is. It started.
Can you guys hear me? Should I be
Yeah, I
talking?
can hear you perfect. Oh, this is like a short intro. I love this.
That shot was from the Guinness Book of World Records entry.
Oh, this is so great, dude. This is like a little mini documentary at the beginning that puts it in context.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying I've got to buy the new edition of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So are those
dude,
7
this
codes
brings
of
back
drumming?
memories of,
Guinness Book of World Records for air drumming.
this is bring back
And that
memories of
shot of the crowd
Sundance
was-
and like that time. Like, I don't know.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. And we should keep talking, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're going to talk.
Yeah.
But we're going to ask you questions, and we want you to comment. Think of this as sort of an updated commentary track.
Okay.
You know?
That's a train.
And this is New Mexico?
All of the factory noises are to a rhythm that was designed to set up the first song.
Ah.
Everything is in beat. And it's actually in beat for Kyrie eleison, which is going to come in.
This
There's some
opening is
headband.
so good.
The first headband is a light headband. The light from all of our headbands will shine the way into the darkness, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm turning it up, but I don't want to turn up too loud.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to talk during a movie because I'm so trained not to.
Yeah, I know. It's hard for me too. I'm talking over my own movie. It's like I either just want to monologue over the whole thing or get mesmerized.
Well, yeah, I think we do want to talk about it because this will be preserved for people who want to discover the movie. They'll be able to check it out.
Okay, so I had got stories. A lot of these shots were pickups that we did a year after the initial shoot. I went back and did those drumming shots because I hadn't had time to do them at the time. And there was a storm, and the whole plant got shut down, and they told us it might explode, and we had to hide in the
Oh my
bunker
God.
below the power plant.
Where is this? Is this New Mexico?
Can people hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah.
you perfect. Yeah, you've never dropped out
It's in a place
sound-wise.
called Helper, Utah, and there's that was a sculpture of a copper miner because it's a real copper town.
See, you know what I love about this film is the sort of like just the fact that like optimism is in every place of this. You know, at least in your character, embodied in your character is this.
Well, my
blind
character
optimism.
he has a kind of the soul of a child, and he's a hopeful child. There's his hero, Neil Peart.
Gil Holland. I didn't know Gil Holland was involved in this.
Yeah, he was one of the people who helped put together the money for it.
Oh my God, Gil!
This is autobiographical. I used to basically just only eat cereal, and I would concoct these recipes with a whole bunch of different flavors. Like for example, granola when it's combined with Cheerios creates a really great combo. These are great local First Nations actors who we found to do this scene. Because the movie was set in New Mexico, I really wanted to have a lot of First Nations people in it, but we shot in Utah, and it was the area we were in. It was a little harder to find them.
So you're all about
I lived
inclusion.
in my real aunt. I lived in her basement in New Mexico, so this is kind of autobiographical. After my mom died, I lived in my aunt's basement, and so that's what this is all. And Jane Lynch really captured the sort of spirit of the crazy but lovable aunt.
You sort of caught her just as she was about to really explode. I mean, I think she had just done the Christopher Guest movies at the time.
Yeah, she had done some great stuff that put her on the map, but she hadn't done Glee yet, which is what sort of made her a mainstream star.
I really found her in the Christopher Guest movies. I mean, she was always so amazing.
She was so lovely to work with too. I was terrified my first day on set, and the first thing, she just kind of ran up to me and gave me a big hug and made me feel confident. Oh, this is the vest. Look, I'm wearing the vest right now. The dream vest.
That's cool.
The only appearance of the dream vest. Actually, it flashes back later in the movie, but there had been a scene. That scene was supposed to be me having a nightmare that I was in a rotating drum cage, like Tommy Lee style, and then I have no cage and I floating through the air, and we just couldn't. The effects were too expensive for us to do in post, but that's also in the bonus features, is the attempt to do the Tommy Lee drum dream.
Yeah, Dee Dee says the soundtrack is amazing.
Should I keep talking?
I would imagine. What percentage of the total budget was just music?
Yeah. Well, back to the cereal thing for a second. You know, you're an adult and you can eat cereal for dinner, which I've done many times and recently. So I'm all about this.
I actually have to say I'm off cereal.
Really? There's this new keto cereal that you got.
If I put cereal in the house, I'm going to just eat it all.
That's what I do.
Just don't get cereal, and that's a way to.
I get the keto cereal now
free
because it's low on carbs. So I'm all about the keto cereal. It's delicious.
This dialogue was straight out of something at a bar that I was at in this small town in New Mexico. I mean, all the flavor of this bar was 100% based on a real bar in New Mexico.
What was the name of the bar?
I don't remember. This one, I call it the Beauty Grinder, which I thought was another. Beauty Grinder was the fake hair salon. I don't remember the real bar's name. It'll come to me later. But you see, there's El Piejo. Yes, I called it El Piejo, and that's what the one in New Mexico was called.
Nice.
This guy is great. We still talk on Facebook. Huerta, if you're there, say hi. Suck down hussy spit. That's right. Someone's remembering those lines. Dig it.
Yeah, you can
go over that song, The People Want Peas, on the soundtrack. There's the entire version of that song. It's like a 3-minute song. I mean, every little song snippet that my brother Ethan Gold wrote for the movie is on the soundtrack in full glory. So the soundtrack is almost like a second version of the movie with all these other jokes in the full-length songs.
One of the things I want to ask you about your brother Ethan, you have a twin brother, Ethan Gold, and you're both musicians, both artists. Did you ever take advantage of Ethan in the sense of he could be your stand-in for the movie in some parts? Did that ever happen?
Okay, that's funny that you say that, because I broke my arm during the shooting of the movie. And for an air drum movie, that's a pretty big deal. It was a huge deal. It was kind of a disaster at the time, or, I really thought I was never going to be able to finish the movie, and we lost the crew. I mean, it was just a disaster. And I did call my twin brother and I said, can you be my body double in some of the scenes that I have the crew booked for, and at least we can get some of the wide shots? And he refused. I mean, we're twins. There's sort of like we were at the point in our lives where we didn't want to do that kind of thing, and he refused. And so I had to work around it. And there are scenes later you'll see where I was on a lot of painkillers and have a cast on, and I'm trying to air drum. This scene, my arm's not broke. I couldn't do that with a broken arm. But
well, how did you break your arm to begin with?
this is my brother singing. In one of the later scenes on the docks, when Power gets to New Jersey, it was the night before a shoot that I had been preparing for a few months, because we shot it in sections. I didn't have the money to shoot the whole thing, so I would shoot one portion in one location and then break down. It was almost like shooting 5 short films and then putting it together afterwards. But I had finally booked this location by the docks that I really wanted, and I was so happy. And I was like, oh, maybe when Power runs, he'll like run to the edge of the dock like this. And I was trying to make the crew laugh. So I ran across the dock and ran into a pole deliberately to make them laugh. And I broke my arm.
Oh my God.
At least it wasn't an air drum related accident.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I broke it on an air cymbal.
So, but air drumming is,
I mean, crazy stuff was happening. This scene, I remember now, like, okay, we're in the rain. Lightning struck the pole where we had the light for that moonlight. We had all kinds of crazy stuff going on the set. But the only person who was injured was me with a broken arm. But yeah, we had lightning that night right there outside that.
Michael McKean.
Yeah, I mean, getting the guy who played David St. Hubbins to play my dad was kind of a dream come true. And it was a fun part, I think, for him, because normally at the time it was like, oh, he does improv comedy. And we called and said, we're doing this comedy, but you get to play a serious role actually in the comedy. And so that was appealing for him to play like a working man, the leader of the head of the local union, copper miner union. Right, my screen froze.
We can still hear you.
Perfect. Yeah, we can hear you perfect.
Where is the movie right now? Because my movie also froze.
You're talking with your dad on the stoop.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about 11 minutes in.
Tell me when I start air drumming.
Yeah, you just did.
Right now. You just started.
Okay, I think we're back in sync. Like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just passed that.
Okay. All right, I caught up to you. But we wanted these scenes to be real, and his performance in this is, there's basically no comedy in his performance. He really did it as a real thing, and that's something that we wanted. We wanted this relationship to be kind of the central thing that's been kind of haunting Power, is that his father doesn't see him, and the whole journey he's doing it for his dad. But it takes the whole movie for his dad to kind of understand what Power's message is. And then when his dad understands it, he can understand it.
It's important to ground a lot of these performances in reality. And especially when your over-the-top character kind of comes in, and, it just keeps it from becoming a joke, so to speak.
Yeah. Okay, this is Adrian Grenier, my bandmate. Has that started for you guys?
Yeah. We're in sync.
Yeah, okay. My name, Ari Gold, was stolen by his managers for the TV show Entourage, which, I do have a response to that. I made a short film called Entourage, so it could be Ari Gold's Entourage, which you can see at arigold.net. I don't have arigold.com, but I have .net for the Entourage movie, and I have .tv for these screenings. But yeah, he's so funny. Adrian is so funny in this movie, and I knew how funny he was, and his managers at the time wanted him to be like, they had an idea that he would be like a Mark Wahlberg kind of serious actor. Oh my God, Siri thought I said Siri. No, I said serious, not Siri. That's what keeps happening. It's like Siri keeps opening on me. But I knew how funny he was from playing in a band with him, and so I wrote this with him in mind. And he just nails it. And this guy, Richard Fancy, was so good as well. Also a role, he manages to be funny and grounded at the same time. And he's, basically, it's a parallel story. He also has issues with his father. He's a closet air drummer. The whole metaphor for his character is that he's in the closet, that he's like, basically it's like he's a gay character and his dad doesn't approve.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that a little later.
Sorry, you froze. If someone can hear him, what was that question?
I was going to ask
something that he was going to talk about later about what you just brought up.
Oh, did someone ask me a question?
Yeah, I want to ask you about Adrian. He was in Entourage at the time, right? Or
yes, he had. I think Entourage had been on for a couple years when we did this.
See, here's my thing about Entourage. I wonder if it holds up now, because with everything,
I never liked it because they had stolen my name, and it was just such a pain in the ass.
Well, it must have been a pain for you because, I would say my friend Ari Gold, I would just say that to people and like, from the TV show, like that's not, everyone knew Ari Gold from the show, but I know
it was so annoying. And I mean, I would have people say to me, like adults would say to me, were you named after the show?
Like, how could you? Like the show's been on like 20 years.
3 years. Do I look like I'm under 3 years old? Like, how stupid can people be? It was
God.
But
Well, see, I'd like to see them bring Entourage back for one more season, but everybody just gets canceled because of things that they said on their social media or Me Too stuff. Like, it'd be Entourage, the canceled season, and just everything from movies they did.
It would not be received well. I mean, this movie was way ahead of its time, and Entourage is like behind the time. Like that. That shit would fly now at all.
Because this movie really is.
But this movie's just going to get better every year, like fine wine.
It is because I'll tell you, it is because it's owed to a really a genre that's solid, right? The go for your dream genre, music genre, which is something everyone can get behind. I think especially in this day and age, we need something hopeful and optimistic.
Yeah.
And it's got a positive attitude. The other thing is it's also about a workers' revolt, which is kind of happening right now.
Then he ends up leaving this worker crew and joining a bunch of immigrants for the air drum crew. And he crosses the border to Mexico. I mean, and then there's like an anti-Muslim character later, and then there's a strike, and then there's police brutality. I mean, there's a lot in this movie that's ahead of the time.
It's like Lindsay Anderson's If, as Malcolm, you're like Malcolm McDowell's character, kind of, in the midst of all this, chaos and what's happening at the time. But it's more than that. I mean, it's just,
so just for an example, this was shot in California, like 6 months after. So basically power leaves the power plant and then it's 6 months later. I mean, that's often true in a movie, but it was spread out over 13 months. It was spread out a lot longer because of the money situation and because I really wanted to shoot in the right locations. I didn't want to, initially they were like, oh, let's shoot it all in Burbank and, we can use the local whatever plant as the plant and we can use the San Gabriel Mountains as the desert. And it was so important to me that it really look like the whole of America, because it's a story about America, and I didn't want to shoot it in LA. So I really fought for this look by having all these different places.
Well, I mean, location's a reflection of the budget. It makes the movie feel bigger, right? And I don't know what your budget was, but I would say just off the top of my head, probably 10, 20 million.
Not even close.
Okay.
Not even close.
I guess it's more of a reflection of how little I know.
It looks like a $20 million movie, but it was not a $20 million movie.
Well, look at the cast and the locations. That to me, that's where the money should go, is cast and location.
Now we're back in Utah. No, but see, normally you'd pay for this and you'd have a whole giant crew, but because we shot it in parts, like this, a lot of these scenes of me biking around, that would be a crew of like 2 or 3 people.
Oh, wow.
So everyone is gone, and then I would go around the country with a little skeleton crew and shoot these extra shots. That's me standing still. This is another place entirely. None of the same people are in none of the same crew is around for this. Or actually, some of them work for this one, but so
I would imagine the music rights are probably the most expensive
all
part.
this is shot in the daytime. This is day for night. Oh, that's a real night. The other one was fake night. This is in Utah again, pretending to be Mexico. A sort of fantasy version of Mexico. It's obviously, ridiculous, but this idea of the porous border. So that guy was in the bar also, where he was air drumming, in his hometown, and then he reappears in Mexico. There's this kind of like magical thing happening. There's a deleted scene with him too, where he kind of predicts what's going to happen to Power, but you have to buy it on Vimeo to see that.
I have to say, I love Vimeo for indie films. Just as someone who's had, that's how we see
simple.
A lot of screen. It's simple. I've got the app on my Roku and Apple TV, and that's how a lot of
really
indie
have it dialed.
Yeah, Vimeo for if you're an indie filmmaker. I'm just as if you're an indie film fan or just a filmmaker, Vimeo is a great tool. I'm going to say random things because these painkillers have made me lose me.
I want to interrupt this song, by the way.
Sorry.
This song is a song my brother, another one of the 40 songs my brother did for the movie. This song is called Serialismo, which is serialism in Spanish. And the idea, now again, Siri came on because I keep saying cereal. The idea was to do like a brujeria, which is it's a metal band, a Mexican metal band, to do that style, but the chords of the song are in serialism form, like Schoenberg, the composer from 1915 or so.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of musical jokes, and then all of the lyrics are about eating cereal.
I'm watching it with the subtitles
in Spanish,
and it just says intense grunge music.
yeah. But if you get my brother's record, or we'll send out the link. I think we have a translation of the song, but it's very funny. It's basically like every night when I go to sleep, I have to eat food, and that food is always cereal. That's kind of the lyrics in Spanish. So here we see Power's wound to the death of his mother, which is also somewhat autobiographical for me, but this idea that like he discovers air drumming in the silence after his mother's heart stops.
When it comes to Rush and their involvement in the film, can you talk about that? I mean, it's.
Oh, I have glasses like that. Should I put those on?
Do it.
Yeah, go for it.
Neil loved that line. He thought that was so funny. This re-release is also, partially in his honor. It was just such a lovely, lovely person, as well as obviously being the drummer of drummers. But
I want to know how Wendy Horowitz knows that kid. Wendy, post in the comments how you know that kid. Wendy Horowitz, who I ran into on the metro a few months ago before the world changed. So yeah, Wendy, post in the comments. We're reading all the comments here.
I know that kid.
She says, "I know that kid."
Which kid? The actor? Little kid.
Yeah.
Little you.
Yeah.
Little you. All right. She's gonna
Really?
let us know. Yeah.
He
Cool.
lived in that little town in Utah.
Oh, really?
He wasn't an actor. He was like a local kid who.
She's going to explain it. She'll explain.
So
I want
here
to
we get the beginning of the kind of immigrant story. This
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing the Woody Guthrie song "Pastures of Plenty," which was about migrant workers in the 1930s, and so then I play that here with these, when he joins these migrant workers who are on their way to America.
So Wendy says she's not personally, she doesn't know that kid personally, but she's seen him on TV a lot, which tells me Wendy Horowitz is stalking this child. We should call Child Protective
I'm not
Services.
sure it's the same person, because that kid, I don't think he ever, maybe, I don't think he was, when we met him, he was not an actor. He was just a kid in the town.
I never forget a
with red
face.
hair.
I don't know. It seems familiar for some reason. Just that face.
Yeah. There's our border wall. Did you see it?
That's funny because they're building a wall, aren't they? Wendy says she's seen him on commercials. Let's get back. Okay, I want to get refocused back to the film and ask you, Rush.
That was a little Large Marge reference, by the way. That just flew by.
So great, from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Mad Libs, My Dream Girl. There's a lot, he's writing about Annie, the one he meets. If you freeze frame that, you'll see he's basically writing about her. That's the production designer, Walter Barnett, who did the, Convict.
What I want to ask you about Rush, or if you want to save it for later, but Rush's involvement, Neil Peart, I'm going to pronounce it wrong. I always say Peart.
It's
Peart.
Well, I always used to say Peart, but he said Peart to me when we first met.
Oh shoot!
So, but I'm not sure I have the pronunciation quite right. There's Tim and Eric. You barely see them because most of the scene was cut.
Oh, that's great though.
In the bonus scene,
Tim and Eric.
And this actor, I'll talk about Rush later. But that's Chu-Chi Ling, who's a Hung Gar Kung Fu grandmaster who was in Kung Fu Hustle. And I went up to Alameda, California to talk him into doing the movie, and total sweetheart. I thought he didn't understand what I was saying, and I thought he thought it was like a serious movie. And then I was like, it's like air drumming, right? And this, I have this on the bonuses as well, but his audition, and he really barely spoke English. And then he starts air drumming like in his suit as he's auditioning for me. And I was like, okay, he's got it. Oh my God, Siri keeps coming on every time I say something like
just
Siri
unplug. Can you disengage?
I don't know how
Siri?
to turn her off. This never happened before.
Siri, Alexa, there's that new, what is the Google has their own version, Google Home. So
yeah, I hate all that shit.
I can't
Annie
stand
Golden.
it all.
What about Annie Golden? Someone's asking. What about Annie?
Annie Golden. Wendy Horowitz has a question. What's the question?
Annie Golden. She's awesome. What's the question? That's her, Annie Golden, from who was in Hair. She was in Orange is the New Black later, but she was also in Hair in the 1970s. And
You're kidding, Hair. I just interviewed John Savage from Hair. It's crazy.
But what about Annie Golden? What's the question, Wendy? Yeah, that's. Oh,
Wendy wanted to know if that was her.
Definitely Annie Golden. And here's Shoshana Stern, who, when I wrote the part of a deaf girl who falls in love with power because she can feel the music that he is not playing. I was like, how am I going to find someone to play this part? And I knew I wanted to cast someone who really was, deaf or hard of hearing. And it was a miracle to find her because I didn't know, I'm not deaf. I didn't know if it was going to be offensive, the kind of jokes about hearing and music and all that. And she thought it was so funny. And the fact it was so relieved that she was like, oh, this is a great joke about deafness. And so she was awesome.
Was she on weeds at the time? Because that's how I recognized her.
Yeah, that's how
fantastic.
I found out about her. Yeah. So that exterior was in Los Angeles, the interior is in Los Angeles. The exterior was in Brooklyn. The movie is full of these moments where, like, I'm stepping from Utah to Pennsylvania to New Jersey to New York to LA, and within one scene, because of the weird way we shot. Stephen Williams, who plays Carlos, genius performance. I just spent the day with him last week out in, he lives in Acton, California, out in the desert. And we spent all day. Actually, we might post it. I filmed him talking about what's going on with Black Lives Matter and everything. There's like a 2 to 3 hour kind of casual interview. We were like drinking and talking. And I think I'll post that. I'll post that on the Adventures of Power Instagram within the next week or two. Pretty intense talk we had.
He's been in so much stuff. I looked him up on IMDb, and it took me 4 hours to scroll to the bottom.
His career is insane.
21 Jump Street is what I remember.
I mean, he said he's like, he thinks he maybe has done more roles than any other actor in Hollywood. It's possible. There's Jimmy Jean-Louis, who I also saw last week. Siri just came on again. Why? Shut up, Siri.
Got to disengage Siri.
If anyone knows how to do that on a Mac, let me know.
I never turned it on. I just went to the setting.
That just never happened to me.
I can't stand any of that.
There must be some setting. You guys talk for a second while I figure out how to turn
Marlena W. Geddes says vibrations, baby. Well, and then my old friend Rachel Sergey says yes with an exclamation point. I think that's yes to the painkillers that I'm currently experiencing. Painkiller. I'm just out of it. And you know, when you're just like out of it, you're just like, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to go with it. Whatever's going on. Just just keep your expectations
low. I'm glad you're all right, Chris.
What's that?
I'm glad you're all right.
Oh, I know that's, my one friend, John Branstetter, was really freaked out. He just said, get to the hospital, but whatever. Anyways, Chris
froze for me.
Oh, the thing is, the feed that's going out, I actually checked it. The feed that's going out is great.
Is anyone talking?
Yeah, we're all talking.
Yeah.
We're talking.
Everyone's frozen.
Yeah. Didi says, this is the second time I've watched this today.
Oh, good.
So that's cool.
Hey, me too.
But yeah,
I watched it last night, this morning.
Oh, there's a funny moment coming up. This guy who played Brain Dog was fucking great, but this moment here was an accident, a beautiful accident. Watch. Ready? It was in breaking the window. That was not in the script. Did you guys? Were you at the same moment where he breaks the window?
More or less.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a little bit behind, like a couple seconds.
Or maybe I'll slow mine down.
I love that the film never mentions Carlos's hands.
Well, he does a slight reference to it where he says, where his, he
slot
talks
machine
about
accident.
his band having kicked him out, and he says, slot machine took my last quarter. I actually had a longer version that we filmed where he said, slot machine took my last quarter and I gave it a piece of my mind. Something like that. Anyway, the idea somehow that he got his hand stuck in a slot machine.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, that was my favorite, like, little random line, just his little origin story.
I'm hoping that
Def
Def Leppard, we're trying to get Def Leppard to take a look at this, because we have this nice reference where he complains about how he was kicked out of the band for losing his hands, but then he had the last laugh when Def Leppard kept pumping out the hits. Rick Allen, I feel like Rick Allen must have seen the movie, but I wrote to his Instagram a couple times. I never heard back. Like, hey, Rick, we give you a shout out in this movie.
Oh, man, that reveal is crazy.
Huh?
The reveal of all the stuff in his office.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's his past as a funk drummer. And the song that Adrian's character air drums to, making fun of in the competition at the end of the movie, the idea is that it's Carlos's song from the 80s, that like his one hit. There's a lot of these like musical references.
On no hands. I just saw the newspaper article, the Look 'em on no hands.
So you get caught up in watching the movie. It's kind of the problem with this.
What line just happened for you guys?
The Death Leopard pumping out
Okay.
the hits.
We're kind of in sync.
Yeah,
You
we're
guys
kind
had the
of
drums and the walls.
someone
Being
else
part of
caught
the
it.
low tom.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're pretty close to each other.
There's so many visual.
Okay, the tabla player, I really wanted to get somebody who knew what he was doing, because the idea is that he's the star of this team. And so we had a bunch of actors come in who would like do this, and it just looks stupid. So I was like, we've got to cast somebody who actually plays tablas. And so I was driving all around the valley, like putting up signs at like India Sweets and Spices and those kinds of restaurants and Indian markets, looking for a tabla player. And I found somebody that way. This guy who was a dental student and tabla player. And when he goes like this, it's accurate. It was also very funny.
There's so many visual gags in this movie, especially the last scene. Were those written into the script, or did they happen kind of organically on set?
Like which ones?
Oh, just like the newspaper articles, the
most stuff was written in. There's a lot of references to the world of the movie. So the newspaper articles show, the kung fu guy, or they show Carlos's past as a drummer in a band like the Daz Band, which then my brother did these, fake songs from the past. A lot of that was planned in advance. There are some gags that happen on set, like the breaking of the glass where he punches the window. That was an accident, a very funny accident. The scene later where there are a couple of scenes here, like we had to make changes because of the broken arm in some of the scenes.
This is my favorite.
So like this is much later in the movie, but when I run away from the phone booth and my sweatpants fly off, that was a gag that I came up with because I actually couldn't take my pants off because my hand was broken. And I was like, I want to like rip my sweatpants off, but I couldn't. So I was like, well, maybe instead of ripping my sweatpants off, they'll just fly off. So that was like making use of the challenge.
I'll be right back. Guys. You take over from me.
Go take your pills.
Okay, cool. I gotta take a leak. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So Marlena says that she wants to give you credit for the deaf character as being the perfect example of laughing with and not at.
Yes. Well, the whole movie has that quality. The whole movie is meant to be a laughing with rather than laughing at. And I think that's one of the reasons the movie was so misunderstood when it came out, because people were used to comedies where you're like laughing at the characters. And this is, the gas station poster. Yes, the gas station poster was created for the movie. And I still have it. I couldn't believe that the name gas station was such a perfect name for like late 70s, early 80s funk band in Jersey. And like, we looked it up and there was no band called Gas Station. So we were able to just do that, which was
missed opportunity.
How could there not have been a band in 1981 called Gas Station? But apparently there wasn't. So maybe there was somewhere, but we didn't find them. So we had clearance. Some of this scene, I think I did have a broken arm, but I have a short sleeve shirt on. So
did you have a cast?
I remember. No, we did this after I had broken my arm, and I took the cast off early to do these scenes because I remember I was in a lot of pain. So like when I swing her around, I was worried that it was going to like re-break my arm.
Yeah.
So
I'm
those
guessing
ones,
I'm guessing it was
taken the cast off and kind of prematurely. And this hurt like a motherfucker doing this drumming.
I'm guessing it was the left arm.
It was the right arm.
The right arm. Oh wow. You're moving that one a
So
lot.
this one, yeah. Yeah, I was in a lot of pain this day. Not so much from the drumming, but you see, I dip her. I do a little dance with her, and I do that.
Yeah, you're kind of catching her with it.
I was in pain for a long time, like for a couple hours after holding her with my arm.
Now, is this Utah as well? Oh, it has to be, yeah.
No, this was in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
Now,
I think I've seen
so
it.
are you guys back in Utah? Do you see the kid running down the street?
Yeah, I think I'm just a couple seconds ahead of everyone.
Okay, so this was an example of saving money and why the movie was not even close to the 20 million that he was estimating. So those scenes of the kid running down the street, every time, we had all these scenes with the kids can be very expensive. So we would just get a different kid each time. And that's why I was like, oh, he can wear a motorcycle helmet to cover up the fact there's actually a different person. And that way we wouldn't have to like locate the actual kid each time we came back to shoot. So there's the real actor. But when the kid's running around before, it's someone else. You can kind of tell he's like 6 inches shorter, but whatever, it made it work.
That was a stunt. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant the part where the car almost hits the kid.
Oh, the car. Yeah, that was a stunt. I mean, it wasn't like a big stunt, but it was a stunt. We had to like get safety clearance and all that. I mean, this was very of its time too, in that like, a black Hummer was like the representation of like assholeness. And then of course we cut to Dallas Houston doing his MTV Crib. So it was like, asshole to asshole, money rules the world.
Now, where is this? Is this I can't imagine this is an actual house.
No, it's not a house. This is a library in Los Angeles. So this is an example. So I was like, okay, we can't afford to do a huge house. So we shot in a huge library. And then I shot an exterior of one of the most expensive mansion high rises in New York to set it up. So like, oh my God, this guy must be a billionaire. So it was just like a free shot of like an expensive building in New York, and then the interior of like an old fashioned library in Los Angeles. And that's how we made this, penthouse.
This is such a perfect spoof on the MTV Crib type shows.
Yeah, I hated those shows. A lot of I guess there were things that there's a lot of love in the movie, but there were things I hated. I hated SUVs and MTV and all acronyms, really.
But you have like the shots and the editing just like perfect.
Yeah, and this was, I don't know where you guys are, but now we see him literally in the closet air drumming, the little kid. I don't know if you got to that, but in case you missed the metaphor, I put the little kid literally in a closet. Oh, right. The scene. Oh, this comes later, but another example of like a gag that we changed is when he gets her attention by throwing her cereal to her apartment. That was a replacement for a gag we couldn't afford of her sliding down a pipe outside the building. So I was like, okay, we need some magic. And it was the DP for that section, Brian Rigney Hubbard, who came up with the idea of having him throw a magic Cheerio at her that like bounces off the walls. This song, you guys are all on the Arabic song now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you hear that?
I'm watching with subtitles.
Oh, okay. So this was another song that my brother made for the movie. I mean, the range of different kinds of music that my brother created for the film is kind of staggering. Should I keep talking?
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
let me ask you, how proficient did you want to get at air drumming before you did this?
Me?
I would imagine you didn't want to be that great at it.
Well, I was not yet in the Guinness Book for air drumming, although I am now. But I knew I got to admit, I knew I was a good air drummer. So I had to kind of force myself to be kind of, in order to give Power of some more to grow, the idea was to make him really tight for the first 2/3 of the movie, basically until this scene where he's coached to kind of open up.
Mhm.
So like the scenes in the beginning when he's at the bar back home, he's drumming like this. And then in the end, he's open. That was the idea.
It's like that difference between being technically great versus being creatively great.
All these jokes were like, you know, instead of saying bullshit, he says bovine manure. That was kind of inspired by the TV dub of Repo Man, where they came up with all these creative ways of like covering up swear words. And I was like, okay, instead of covering up the swear words later, I'll just come up with bizarre fake swear words for this and not actually have any real swear words. So like he says bovine manure instead of bullshit. Like in the dub of Repo Man, there's like whenever they say motherfucker, it's dubbed as melon farmer, which is so funny.
They did that with Kevin Smith's version of Mallrats too.
Oh yeah,
is, like famous. It's famous for its just crazy swear words.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so I never actually shot the swear words in real life. I just like went straight for the funny fake ones.
Well, at least you could watch this on an airplane, right? They didn't have to edit it.
So this
I
is
still
the
think
scene where
Smokey and the Bandit had the
loosens
best.
up with the help of his lady, who understands music better than he does, even though she can't hear it.
Oh my God. I remember wearing shorts like that a long time ago. That's definitely the style in the 80s.
Hold on. I have these. Right
Nice.
Put them on.
Yeah, I'll put them on. How's that? How do I look?
Oh my God.
This scene was a total blast. You know, this was way after I broke my arm. And I mean, I love this song, "Let It Whip" by the Daz Band. I assume that's playing for you all now.
Yeah.
We're sort of in the same spot.
We're in sync.
So, you know, this is another example of us. Other than these shots here, the rest of it was shot kind of guerrilla style, you know, driving around Brooklyn mostly, and grabbing. Oh, that's New Jersey. The other ones are Brooklyn, and that's New Jersey. I guess it's a mix of places, but you know, if this were a real movie, we would have had to spend so much for all these locations. But instead, I had this giant chart of all the locations I loved, and then we just went out and shot them with, you know, 3 people. The crab walk, my famous crab walk. These were the Afrobats, who I saw in Central Park with my girlfriend, who was the co-producer of the movie. And this was when I was recovering with a broken arm. And it was one of those moments where I'm like, maybe it's good that I broke my arm because I met these guys. And then I wrote them in, added them in for this scene. Afrobats.
And who did the choreography for that?
His name's Keith Young, great choreographer, and he also did, you know, the team choreography for the final scenes.
Oh yeah.
By the way, so those were the wrong shorts. You'll see some of the times the shorts are supposed to be one pair, and it's it changes the way that like the little kid changes sizes. Here we get all the like, you know, the angry white guy not willing to accept the immigrants.
Where have we seen that? Seems very familiar.
In real life.
Unfortunately.
I really felt like this movie should have been like the theme movie for the Bernie Sanders campaign. Stephen Williams, the actor, he always says, I mean, every time I see him, he's always like, he calls me Ari. He's like, Ari, when we met, I read your script and I said, I have no idea what this movie is. I have no idea what this is about, but you seem to like what I'm doing. I mean, he always says that, but like he's so good. Like he clearly like gets the joke, but he pretends like he doesn't. He's like, air drumming, what the hell? All right, here's the scene with the magical Cheerio. That was the DP's idea, because I wanted to have her slide down the outside, and they were like, you know, that's going to cost $8,000 as a stunt, and we need XYZ insurance clause. And I was like, there's got to be a piece of magic. And he was like, what about a magic Cheerio? So. You want to ask me a question?
Was there some trick to make it bounce around like that?
Huh? What'd you say?
Was there some trick to get it to bounce around like that?
That was one of the few digital shots in the movie. That was a digital Cheerio.
What?
Is that what you're asking?
Hold on. Oh yeah.
How did we get it to bounce?
I'm sorry. I think this is an '80s film, but it was 2008.
Yeah.
You could almost convince someone that this was made in the 80s.
Well, we shot it on
keep thinking
film.
that.
We shot it on film, celluloid.
I feel like you should do
16 millimeter. We shot it on 16 millimeter, Super 16.
Super 16. Yes.
Yeah.
But I feel like it would be really cool if you did a VHS version of it, you know, like in a clamshell, you know, the clamshell cases that are like
the large plastic ones.
Those giant.
Yeah, if I had my way, the Blu-ray would be designed to look like a VHS.
Yes.
You open it and there's like a VHS tape, and then the Blu-ray's inside that. But I think I need a couple 100 million more fans before that'll happen. But starting here.
Well, I mean, look, if they can release music on vinyl, like to be old school, I don't see why you couldn't release some movies on VHS.
People don't really have VHS players anymore.
Well, see, that's the problem.
Yeah.
They're hard to find.
I mean, VHS looks like shit. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Look bad,
and it degrades over time. And
hey, guys, don't bag on VHS. I love VHS. It's the 80s. Yeah, Wendy. If you've not seen this movie, you need to. This is like, it's also that what I love about Adventures of Power is it's very rewatchable.
It is definitely rewatchable. I think it only starts getting good, like really good, around the third or fourth time you watch it. There are people who write to me on the internet like, this is the movie we watch every year at Christmas. Like, this is our Christmas movie.
Wow.
I can see that.
So,
yeah. It's very family
and
friendly.
Now, cereal, they get cereal all over them. Annie Gold was so great.
That's a great line.
I did a lot of falls like that. I was falling all the time deliberately. I mean, it's no wonder I broke my arm. And there's in the bonus features is like a little compilation reel of a bunch of my falls. Like some of them I'm watching, I'm like, Jesus, how did I not break my arm in that? You know, like one, I'm like running down the street in Utah, and I like flipped myself and landed right on the pavement. And I didn't do this with any training. I'm not like a trained clown, but. I shot her saying about. Hold on, you guys are going to the flashback.
Yeah. Sorry,
So this
sorry.
was
We all
Leo
got caught
and the
up.
pharmacist. We bum rushed. They're backstage, again, like, how do you do this? This is not a $20 million movie. We bum rushed the backstage and we sent out this girl to do that. Like, they had no idea what, like.
Wait,
So you just snuck on with the
where were
little
you?
girl.
And this actress to take off her shirt and run on stage, and we're like backstage. We told the manager that we got the manager's permission, but nobody else. The band, I think, didn't know. The security didn't know. You know, it was like 3 of us. Like, okay, let's go. And and that little kid was, unfortunately, she was just crying the whole time anyway, because the music was so loud. So I mean, it worked perfectly for what the scene was supposed to be. Now, should we talk about? Has Phil Collins started for you all?
Yeah.
Yeah, just now. Yeah.
So
how did
the
you get?
long build up to the drum fill. I'll just say something that you can do with what you will. But one of the people who said that maybe get me the money to finish the movie was a director named Todd Phillips, who saw Rough Cut.
Wow.
And he loved this scene. And then The Hangover came out a year later with In the Air Tonight and Air Drumming with Mike Tyson.
Interesting.
Which was interesting. Let's just say it was actually Shoshana Stern who called me from the theater. She was like, I think someone's ripped off our movie, which, hadn't come out yet, but we had no money. We were trying to get it out, and The Hangover comes out with like a scene just like this, or sort of like this. And it was quite disappointing because he had said he was going to help out, and that's what happened instead.
Wow.
Did I get the last laugh?
I don't know. I mean, he did make The Hangover 2 and 3, which were both pretty awful. So you
But
did
you
get
have
the
to make
last
them.
laugh.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
I went to a screening of Joker and spoke to him. I didn't like explicitly forgive him because we didn't talk about it, but I was like, nice to see you again, because there's no point in carrying grudges like that. I did carry more than a grudge. It was like, just poison in my, because, when the movie came out and it's attacked, it has no money. I can't get it out. And like at the same time, The Hangover is making like $800 million. And I'm like, thanks. But, I saw him and I was like, okay, whatevs.
The sad thing is he probably doesn't even remember.
Yeah, I mean, I know how this works, and he probably doesn't remember that it came from his screening the rough cut of this.
See, it's getting more to a serious, one of the more serious story threads. Can you talk about this?
Well, this is the police brutality thread that is very relevant right now.
Yeah.
How does he put his arms on in the morning? There's some kind of strap system, John. I think we had a scene of him doing that, although I don't remember if it made any sense physically. But yeah, so this scene, it was, the center of the movie for me. This is the scene where his father discovers that air drumming is the only defense. And basically the metaphor being that like having the right, listening to your heartbeat is the only defense against brutality. And that's where the beginning of healing is. But this is where the shit hits the fan.
Watching this now, I mean, it really is. You could release this movie today, don't you think?
That's Jersey Crew sweatshirts are probably available. No, this is why I've been working to get it out again, because it is so relevant. And you guys, everyone watching right now is you're the initial enzymes of goodness to bring this movie back to the world. Because I know that when I screened this movie, I screened it all over Eastern Europe. I had about like 25 screenings last fall. And people were like, this is don't want to sound like an asshole, but they were like, this is the best movie I've seen in a decade. People were going crazy for it and thanking me for it because it kind of would make them feel good for a week. Because it is about what's happening in our world, and yet it responds with love. So spread the word, folks. This is it. This is the conversion of the father. And, you know, people cry. People talk about crying during that scene.
It's a powerful scene.
It's just, I love the message of positivity. The one thing that I always say to people, we live in this strange cancel culture with people, you know, sort of almost in a religious sense, sticking to whatever their beliefs are. And my whole thing that I always respond to people, I say, you know, Luke Skywalker never canceled Darth Vader. You know, he turned him to the good side. And that's, to me, what I've always believed is like that. I mean, at least the initial Star Wars trilogy is about redemption. And this has that as a thread too. Like I feel like redemption, the whole thing is like, I don't want to go into battle with people that oppose my views. I just want them to listen. And if they agree, you know, you're not going to convince someone by punching them in the nose.
Exactly. And that's exactly right. And this is one of the reasons why the movie was so attacked at the time, I think, and people wouldn't necessarily admit that, but they were not ready to hear that because they want to clear enemies. They want the enemies to get punched. And this is not that movie. This is what the Houstons have done to his father. And he forgives him. He beats him on the playing field.
I think that's the more difficult path, is forgiveness. You know, and I don't think people understand how powerful that is. That's why it really bothers me when I was talking to a friend. We were talking about Twitter and just how toxic it's gotten, and it's just filled with so much hatred, and there's no apology that's good enough. You know, someone said Twitter is now where celebrities go to apologize. That's just what it is now. It's just, you know, that's what the app is for. This is for celebrities to apologize for things, but there's never any forgiveness. And I think forgiveness is, you know, people can be redeemed, you know, and I think that's the whole point.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all growing at different.
We're not going to win the battles that matter for the world. We're not going to win them without changing people's hearts. Right. There's no weapon that is going to beat, you know, the horribleness that's all around us. There's no way of doing it except by changing people's perspective. So, which is harder. And it's one of the reasons why there aren't that many movies that try to do it. It's hard to do it in real life, and it's harder to do it in a story as well and make it work.
Well, I mean, there are movies. There's your movie and Star Wars. So that, you know.
Yeah, Star Wars is a good example. I like that. Adventures, Power, and Star Wars. I think they belong together. A double feature.
Well, I think I see your cast now in the.
Oh yeah, yes, you can see my cast
here. A couple shots.
Yeah. Yep, and that's where, you know, this was 2 days after I broke my arm. I was like, let's just at least get my running stuff because I can do that. So this was like major pain, like serious physical pain. And here's the location where I broke my arm a couple nights before that.
We passed it, so but the line that really got me was
that's my non-broken arm.
The line that got me was when the father said, they beat us with sticks, but we didn't have any.
Yeah. I mean, it walks that line where like I'm wanting people to cry, and it's like getting the metaphors all works, but it's also ridiculous. I mean, this too, like the secret code of the headband man. I don't know what it means, but I find it moving. It's like the secret handshake. People who have headbands.
Here we are.
Now, where was Nick Kroll in his career?
Oh, you guys are already at Nick Kroll?
He just appeared.
Yeah, just
now.
I'm
way behind you. Hold on, I'll catch up. I was still on the docks.
Yeah, I'm a little behind too.
Yeah, so I mean, I'd seen him in a comedy club in New York, like a little comedy place called Rafifi on 11th Street, East Village. And my friend Natasha Leggero, who was also an up and coming comic at that time, I couldn't remember his name. I'd seen him and I was like, he's kind of described him. And he was like, oh, that's probably Nick Kroll. I'm friends with him. And so she called him and then connected me with him.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Kroll is he's a douchebag. In Sausage Party, he plays a douchebag. Sorry. It's hard to do any joke that's related to timing is completely impossible over any sort of chat. It doesn't. Sorry. Let's get back to. Oh my God.
I thought you were straight up calling him a douchebag. I was like, wow.
That may also be true, but I think I don't know if I've ever met him. I don't remember.
The bonus scenes of this are hilarious too, because like he's so funny, and you know, we shot it with an empty auditorium, so he's just talking. There's no music, and it's really funny to hear him do all these lines like just by himself. And some of this was ad libbed, where I was like, okay, now imagine like an old lady. Now imagine, you know, and he would just kind of say something funny. All of these songs appear in their full length version in the soundtrack, because these are all originals that my brother did for the movie.
What's your
40 songs?
What's your brother? What's he doing musically lately?
Yes, there was a Hasidic. That's a very fast shot of a Hasidic guy dancing to a street drummer.
Yeah, this montage of performers is so great.
I mean, all these songs are so good in their full length.
What was the audition process
my band,
like
the
for all
Honey
these
Goats.
performers?
What'd you say? Someone asked me a question I couldn't hear.
Oh, what was the audition process like for all these performers? For the
ones that fly by, we would just have them send in air drum videos. But in terms of getting the entire team together, I mean, it was like making a soup, where, you know, I was so obsessed with like getting the right soup, you know, the right combination of faces, the right combination of personalities. There's like, I think there's 53 speaking parts in this movie. It's insane. And they had to fit together. Richard Fancy, who plays Dick Houston, he got the part because there's a scene later where he does push-ups on the desk while he's yelling at his son. And he made that up. He did that in the audition. I was like, that's brilliant. That guy's got the part for sure. And Jimmy Jean-Louis, the Haitian actor, I had met him on a bus at Sundance like a couple years before making this. And then he came in to audition. I was like, wait a minute, we met on a bus. And I was like, you got the part. You don't have to audition. It's fine. You're here. Let's do it. Total absurdity, this movie.
I love this little Jedi mind trick.
With the doorman?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a total Star Wars moment. Totally. This is, by the way, this song that's playing is gas station song that, you know, the backstory is this was Carlos's song that Dallas Houston is doing to mock the other team. There are a lot of these like weird inside jokes that like you only start to pick up if you've seen it like, you know, 6 or 7 times. But
so when you're biking behind a semi truck, was that from Breaking Away?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so.
I love that movie, Breaking Away.
Yeah, which is also a movie that has forgiveness at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is I've seen that movie so many times.
Yeah, it's so good. I went to a live reading of the screenplay right before COVID started, and Taika Waititi was one of the readers, and it was the people who made this movie called The Climb. That's a great kind of bicycle-ish movie.
Mm-hmm.
But they did a live reading of it, and it's such a good screenplay. That Breaking Away, it's one of the best screenplays ever written. Steve Tesic, a Serbian American who died very young, but Brilliant writer.
Oh, this is very Bow Wow Wow influence.
Hmm?
It's the,
All these
girl
girls.
band.
So like even the hardcore Christian mom is redeemed there by giving her daughter a ticket. If you guys are on the same scene, that is.
Yeah.
I think
We're just
We're
a few
with-
seconds ahead.
Yeah.
you're ahead. Okay, I'll speed up. One sec.
Yeah. Not by much.
Yeah.
Okay, is the Chinese couple sitting down?
Let's see.
Okay, this is Bow Wow Wow. That's a
Wait,
real
that
song.
is Bow Wow Wow?
No. The it's one of the real songs that I wanted to use.
Oh, okay.
Like a lot of
Okay.
songs, we couldn't afford stuff, and my brother, just being a genius, I gave him 30 different genres to do for all the other songs. I only wanted to pay for the really important ones. It's expensive to license music. Although we got really good deals because Phil Collins and Neil Peart from Rush both gave us a really good price, and that set a standard that was abnormally low. So then all the other artists were like, okay, I guess if you're getting In the Air Tonight for so cheap, then we'll give you our song for cheap too. So it was
It's a lucky
we
break.
got the price we got on the songs was like the price of other that we got it for 1/100th of what would be normal. So
Oh, wait. This
That's amazing.
at the point where the kids are seeing each other,
yeah, you having a moment.
a little bit.
The implication is that they had some bond when they were 10. Are you having do you want to go cry in the corner?
No, it's just
You can
a
if you want
great,
to.
it's a sweet moment, I like that this movie has so many more layers to it than you would expect,
Yeah.
I mean, it really just has so much heart. And
Dallas and Power aren't that different from each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they both
That's
got
what I
issues
got
with
from
their
that scene.
dads, and they both love air drumming, and one's rich and one's poor.
He's not that typical bully either.
Yeah, this choreography was amazing. Same guy who did the Afrobat stuff. Well, the Afrobats kind of ad-libbed some of their stuff, but I I love the idea of this song. This song, by the way, was my brother, and the directive was to do a song that was 40% new country, 40% pop punk, and 20% hip hop, and have it be horrible, and yet that it be good enough to sound like it could be a huge hit. And he fucking did it all. It's
a
like the
very
most
jarring
annoying
song.
song of all time, and it works so great.
It's very jarring.
And all this was shot fairly close to the beginning of the shoot. Like everything was backwards. This also, my brother, this was a New Jersey anthem, which should be the anthem. It should be like the national song for New Jersey Nights. Doing a kind of Springsteen, Bob Seger type working man. I mean, it's an amazing song that my brother did. I think this is my favorite of the songs in the movie that my brother made. Also available in its full form on the soundtrack. Truncated here.
which if you
Now
go
with
to
the top
Ari
of
Gold, if you go to arigold.tv, put in your email, you get the soundtrack for free.
Well,
At
I think
least-
people have to have done that.
They have to
If
have
you
done
don't get it from me, by the way, there's like some email glitches, but you can go to my website and just be like, "Where the fuck's my soundtrack?" And I'll,
yeah.
send it to you. Or follow my brother on Spotify. He's on Spotify, Ethan Gold, and the soundtrack is available there. Ethan Gold on Spotify. Should I say that again? Ethan
Yes.
Gold. Follow Ethan Gold on Spotify.
There you are.
Should I say it again?
Do it.
One more time?
Yep.
Yeah.
You can go on Spotify. I mean, watching this scene is so bizarre because it's like everything was shot like a year apart. There's like Nick Kroll in one century, and then like a year later, we're like shooting in Utah, and I had to know that it was going to cut together. It was very hard on the brain.
I will say this: it looks really good. The cinematography. I know that like
this stuff was shot by Lisa Wiegand, who
I know
like,
Lisa
made so much for so little in a lot of these scenes, like this whole competition thing with the lights behind me, that like the lights in the Tom Sawyer section that's coming up, like all this lighting design was brilliant.
Yeah, Lisa. God, I've known her for years. She's awesome, and I believe she's one of the few female members of the ASC, American Society of Cinematographers. She does a lot of TV too. So.
I'm not sure if you're asking a question, but you froze, Chris.
Oh, no, I was just commenting on Lisa Wiegand and having known her and seen her
Chris
career.
Asked me a question. Someone else tell me. You guys are.
Oh, he's making a comment about Lisa.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever he's saying, I agree.
Yeah, it's very complimentary.
Oh no, Chris started moving in. I saw him laugh.
Yeah, no, she's I just know Lisa. I've just known Lisa from, LA indie film scene.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think when
there's very fast. Like there's a Dallas H sweat cologne ad playing on the TV there.
Oh my God.
Like everything in the movie, like there's nothing accidental. And that was partially inspired by Repo Man. Repo Man is full of these like self-referential inside jokes.
I love Repo Man. I haven't seen it recently, but I love that film at the time. Very influential, and I love the fact
top that, 5 for me. Top 5 movies.
Yeah, it's one of those films. One of the little details I love about Repo Man is how all the products in the movie are generic products.
Yeah, and again, that was an example. That was because they had to do that, and then they realized it was perfect, and then they made something of it.
Yeah.
So sometimes these limitations can be great. Likewise, like in Repo Man, they wanted to use Once in a Lifetime by Talking Heads, couldn't afford it, and then they got that amazing Latin flavored surf rock instead, which was so much better. I mean, I love Talking Heads, but like that original music is amazing in Repo Man. I think my brother also did that here, where he created, like, because we couldn't afford songs, he created better things. There's the push-ups scene. Or anyway, that's what I just saw.
That's where I'm at too.
Okay.
Repo Man has one of my all-time favorite lines. Normal people fucking hate them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love that line.
Although actually it's not normal, it's ordinary.
Ordinary.
It says ordinary fucking people hate them.
See, well, thank you for the correction.
Chris is frozen. You feel free to correct me back if you think I'm wrong.
No, I think you're right.
Or if Anthony, if you know the answer, if you know which one of us is right.
Nope. I think you're right, Ari. You jogged my memory.
I haven't seen that movie.
When you've seen it like 40 or 50 times, like
I haven't seen it since when it came out. I mean, it became a cult film, and then you never know what happens with some of these movies, because sometimes, the rights they get bought up by a company, they don't get re-released.
Yeah, well, that's what's happened with this film for a while, and so that's why I finally have it back, and I want to get it out to the masses.
Right. That's great, man.
By the way, let's just look at Carlos's outfit for a second.
It's so cool.
Amazing.
See, it looks like it's look at them, ordinary fucking people. I hate them.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was pretty close there.
Yeah. Well, you get the prize for that one.
I just hope
that movie.
People who know Adventures of Power as well as I know Repo Man. I think there are.
I haven't seen Repo Man since the Netflix disc days.
I miss those days.
Me too. It was a simpler time.
Yeah, it's so weird with so many choices. Yeah. No. Now, Ari, at some point, I know you're re-releasing this. At some point, will you do a streaming deal with one of the larger, like Netflix or
Well,
whatnot?
it's gonna be on Amazon soon. It's been delayed. We really think it should be on Netflix or Hulu. So, I mean, Hulu has a cult film section. Netflix had that drummer comedy special with Fred Armisen. Like, anyone out there know someone? Like, we got to call someone and make that happen. We got to get it on Hulu or Netflix.
Yeah, no
because
kidding.
like, come on. It will be on Amazon, but yeah, and this is a shout out to Todd Phillips. If you're there, it's time to make good on that promise. Here's your opportunity to do the right thing. Get this film on Netflix or Hulu.
Now, one thing you promised. I don't know when there's a good time to talk about it, but
My Body. It's a really good body.
Well, no.
That was later. You want to talk about that later? Okay.
No. When there's an opportunity, or maybe after the film, we got to hear about Rush.
Well, okay, we can talk about Rush right now. So, what do I say about them? I mean, the movie, in a way, would not exist if it weren't for both because, thank you, Sarah. I mean, seriously, like this movie should be like highlight on Netflix or Amazon because like, people love it now. Like whatever history is. Anyway, I wrote a letter that my music supervisor sent to Rush's management. And the word on the street was that Neil Peart was a recluse and didn't like to do anything in public. And, good luck. Basically, this isn't going to happen. But I wrote a really nice letter and got a message back from Peggy Caccione at Anthem Management saying that Neil thought it was hilarious and he wanted to do it. He wanted to be in the movie, which was my request, and he was willing to let us use a Rush song for cheap. And I wanted to use Tom Sawyer because that was the song that when I was a little kid made me go crazy. And at first he was like, maybe you could use something a little more obscure, like not the most obvious one. And I I understood his pain on that, like there are so many other amazing songs to choose from, but I was like, that was the song that made me an air drummer when I was a kid. Can we please use that one, even though it's the obvious one? He was like, okay, fine. So, and then not only did he, act in the movie and get us the rights for almost nothing, but
the Cheerio,
emotional, the Cheerio, that's a digital Cheerio. I mean, that was written in that like the Cheerio, that the camera goes through the Cheerio. Like I had to do that. I was like, no other movie has that. Like how big is that camera if it can go inside a Cheerio? But anyway, yeah, Neil did these promotional, like a charity fundraiser I did with the movie, and a big talk at Drum Channel, which is a wonderful online drum focused internet and DVD. It's connected with DW Drums. A guy named Don Lombardi hooked that up. But anyway, we did like a drum off afterwards, which some of you have seen, which is where I air drum right next to Neil Peart playing real drums on Tom Sawyer. I mean, it's like for drum fans, it's just like insane that I was able to do that, because like there are millions of people who have fantasized about that, and it actually, so that's in the bonus features too. So
what was it like asking me to do that?
About the two, watching me and Adrian playing these Neil Peart drum fills at the same time, because Adrian really learned it too. He rehearsed this really hard to get the drumming right, but it kills him.
Yeah,
or
he only had to
kills
learn
him.
half of it, I guess.
Oh, this is just, this climax is just so incredible.
I mean, the song is amazing. Lisa's lighting is amazing. My air drumming is amazing, but no, but
I love cutting back to the like, who knows how they're gauging it, the little, going up the lights, power,
sorry, I
Dallas,
couldn't hear
power,
what Chris
Dallas.
froze for me. What was the question?
Oh, yeah. It was a long one.
I can't hear it. Chris is totally frozen.
That's okay. I think everyone else can hear it, but he's glorifying you. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's good that it froze. Yeah, this is the heart of the movie. I am drums. I did have like
So great.
when someone was translating that into Lithuanian for my Lithuanian screening, they were like, "I am drums doesn't make sense. Like, what was it supposed to be in English?" I'm like, "That's what it's supposed to be. Is I am drums." This was the day I met him. Like I met him right before this, and then we like hung out a lot more after that. But look at that guy. I mean, just
I love how this competition is on network television.
what?
I love how the competition is on network television.
Yeah, of course. Back to day 3 of the shoot or whatever. And then this beautiful piece of music that my brother wrote to like, this is very unusual to have a ridiculous comedy with this level of emotion in it. Which people get now. People in Lithuania got it. People got it in Latvia, Poland, Ukraine, and America. Thanks to you guys. This is it. This is where it begins.
Oh, there we go.
In this new version as well, you'll see that I put a lot of sort of outtake extra footage in the credit roll to make it more fun. And I did a kind of like honoring of Neil Peart, whose name was misspelled in the original credits.
Are you kidding?
It's insane. Well, I fixed it there, and then I didn't even know that it was misspelled in the like roll because I wasn't looking that closely, and I saw that it was still misspelled. So I'm like, hopefully, I think he would not, lose his mind over that. But some fans are like, "What are you doing?" But so this is from my drum off with Neil, that footage that you can see there. So in the for this release, like I put all these little clips. There's the Tim and Eric clip. I tried to sync everything up to kind of go with Ethan's music. Ethan who? Well, I'll tell you, Ethan Gold. Follow him on Spotify.
I see that airdrummer.com still works. Airdrummer.com still works.
Sorry, now there's only one. Anthony is the only one I can see moving.
Oh.
If someone asked a question, can you ask it again?
Oh,
yeah. Alan was saying. Oh, go ahead, Alan.
Okay. Oh, I see that airdrummer.com still works as a
yes. Yes, I'm using that right now to promote our new charity outreach, but it goes to the back end of the Emergency Power website. Competition, yes, that's very funny. It airs the same night as Eurovision and Dodgeball Finals on El Ocho. You're welcome, John. Did you say it would be available to purchase on DVD or just streaming? DVD later in the year. Everything's delayed because of COVID-19. Vimeo is available now with tons of bonus features and in HD on Vimeo. If you go to adventuresofpower.com, and Blu-ray is unknown. Someone actually asked me about that from Australia this morning, and I don't know. But I think it's like we have to sell a bunch of DVDs to like prove that we're worth putting on Blu-ray, which I'm like, so few people buy DVDs these days. I don't know how that's going to work, but
so 4K
should be on Blu-ray. But right now, I'm just happy that it's available and it's creeping its way, and it's going to get on Hulu or Amazon, or it's going to get on Amazon for sure, but it's going to get on Hulu and Netflix, and they're going to fight over it. Thanks to the people watching right now, somehow are going to make that happen.
Well, Wendy Horowitz says she wants to buy a DVD, so there you go.
Wendy's going to buy a DVD. Okay. You can buy the old DVD used on Amazon or wait for the new one.
I'd wait for the new one. I'd wait for the new one.
I'll wait for the new one.
Yeah.
The old one has like ads for Pauly Shore movies on it.
Does it really? When they used to put ads at the beginning of DVDs, oh, I hated that.
Yeah, and actually, like, it's hard to find the bonus features in the old one because like they were buried under these ads, and so a lot of people told me they didn't know that there were bonus features on it, and there were like close to 3 hours of bonuses, and like they were hidden. But this is the kind of Heart. I don't want to say an imitation of Heart, but it was sort of inspired by like a Heart ballad. At one of the cuts of the movie, the Sundance cut actually had a Heart song, Dreamboat Annie, in the movie, and that's what the Annie character was named after, Dreamboat Annie. But then I cut the scene that Dreamboat Annie was in, and so. But here's this Heart-ish ballad.
Was that an air drum convention of some sort, or
what'd you say?
There's like a ballroom where everyone's air drumming.
Oh, that's where I got the Guinness Book of World Records for air drumming.
Oh, okay.
Which was at the San Manuel Indian Casino
in Riverside.
In Riverside, which sponsored the largest ever air drum ensemble, led by Mr. Ari Gold. So I'm in the Guinness Book. Look it up.
Well, we have some comments. Oh, wait.
Oh, hey, Frank. Hi, Frank. And there's me talking again. You can see that I don't have a girlfriend because my collar is fucked up. How are you, Frank? Oh no, yeah, right. He can't. No, he can hear me.
Yeah, he can hear you. He's watching. He posted a comment.
Yeah. I'm basically saying that the movie is money from the movie is going to support musicians in need, which is true. I will never get rich off this movie, but I hope to bring goodness to the world.
Well, that's the whole thing with indie film, right? It's for the passion, for sure. I mean, that's,
yeah.
I mean, you know,
what else we got?
Yeah. Well, you know, I can speak from experience, having done Film Threat for years. It doesn't pay all that great. I think that I have two other people on here that will confirm that. But it's really gratifying to be able to help people that whose movies that have, you know, moved you or changed you in some way and just brought so much joy into the world. So Ari, we thank you for doing this watch party with us and
well, I really appreciate you guys always going way back, and we will be doing this monthly, and we're looking to bring on some big drummers to do watch parties with me in the future, and you guys are the first. So awesome. I can't think of a better team to launch with. So thank you.
Cool.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, we got to do your other movie, The Song of Sway Lake.
Yeah, anytime.
So let's plan for that at some point in the future. If there are any final questions, everyone should get any comments for anyone in the chat. Post your question. Ari, is that we're not watching the film now? The film's over. But any final questions that people want to ask, and questions from Anthony and Alan as we close it out here. And as a plane goes by.
You hearing my plane?
I think we can hear the plane.
Yeah, someone has
okay. At least it's not fireworks. Those start
Wait,
later.
It's someone dragging a sign. It's a sky sign. It says, "We are drums." Oh. It's for all of us.
So what inspired you to choose air drums as opposed to like air guitar or anything like that?
I went to an air guitar competition, and put on some shorts, and I was like, fuck it, I want to enter, and I'm going to air drum. I was a drummer. And so I went, and this was not planned. It was not planned at all. And I went on stage and they said, "What's your name?" And I said, "Power." I mean, it really happened like that, where it was like born. It was kind of born live. And the crowd went nuts. And I was like, maybe there's something here. Little did I know that it would take a decade for the crowd to go nuts. But now the crowd is going to go nuts. I mean, the crowd went nuts in Eastern Europe last year. It's 25 screenings, and like people were losing their shit over this movie. So it's taken long enough, but it's nice.
Okay, so Wendy wants to know if that was Eric.
Chris is either giving me a really knowing look or he's frozen.
Oh, can I be heard, or
is anyone talking?
Yeah, it's me.
Alan is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm going in the comments. Wendy wants to know if that was Eric Stone Street as the bodyguard.
The bodyguard in front of the club?
No, it was near the end.
You mean Adrian Grenier's bodyguard? I am embarrassed to say I would have to check that. I mean, we met for one day a decade ago. I'd have to check.
All right, and
I apologize. All right, what did it take to fit back into those shorts again? I still fit in those shorts. Didn't take anything. Do I look fat? Mariana, do I look fat to you? Take a question. I'll take a question from the back now. Only comment all of the art. Oh, thank you. First line in the movie about the first thing we hear is our mama's heartbeat. Who wrote that? I have to say that I wrote that. I did work. I wrote like 20 versions of that opening line and before landing on that. But the first sound we hear is the beat of our mama's heart. Feels like the right opening for the movie. Next time, wear the shorts and the tank top. I did do a TikTok video last night, which I sent to Tommy Lee, trying to get him to join for a screening. And he retweeted it, or he reposted it on Instagram, but he hasn't replied to me. I wrote him, I was like, "You reposted it, you have to." And in that video on TikTok, which you can see on the Ari Gold Films TikTok, you will see me in the shorts. Last night, right here, like 3 feet away from you. With as a backdrop, the green screen backdrop, which you can do on TikTok, I used one of Tommy Lee's like air drum cage videos. So hope.
Is there any desire to tell another Powers adventure?
You know, I've had people ask me to make a sequel, and it's like you kind of gotta get that huge fan base before you can make a sequel. But I mean, I feel like there are stories that go on and on. I feel like this story is complete. But there could be like a Creed version where he's training a new
I thought you were talking
or maybe a flautist.
Band Creed.
An air flautist. You know, who's like doing help me. Aqualung. Jethro Tull.
I thought you were talking about the band Creed first.
Oh, Apollo Creed. Yeah. Actually, one of my fan friends still wrote me back yesterday, and her email address in Utah. She lives in Utah. Her email. No, I can't say her email address. That's privacy. Anyway, there's a Creed reference in her email address, which is very funny. So Creed is still in the house for some people. So thank you all muchly. Should we sign off?
Yeah, I just want to say Wendy
Anything
Horowitz.
Else anyone want to ask?
Wendy Horowitz is a new fan. I've been a fan of Ari Gold since I met him at Sundance in the late 90s and saw that short film that you can see. I think it's on YouTube. Short.
You can go at arigoldfilms.com. Has it. Culture.
Culture. It's a brilliant short. I believe it's a minute long.
It's
And
exactly 1 minute.
Exactly 1 minute. I remember I saw it more than once at Sundance because it opened a couple of movies. And one of the times it got like a standing ovation. It was just like people thought it was so brilliant. So
It got moved from one feature to another because the director of the feature that it showed before complained that my movie was getting so much attention and that they moved it to another movie. It's actually true. That happened.
and then I met you, like you were playing pool at some party, and I don't know, we just every year I
I
feel
can't hear
like,
Chris.
oh, it's okay. Darn, why?
If anyone
He's
can
talking
hear him,
about how
please
he met you
translate
at
what
a
he
pool
froze on
party?
my screen.
Or playing pool at a party.
Yeah. And anyways, Ari,
He
just
froze.
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. I want to thank you for doing this. I want to thank Alaning, Anthony Ray Bench, and Ari for sharing your work with us. And we look forward to the next watch party. So thank you again. Any final words? Any final words, Ari?
Film threat is power. And power is film threat.
And with that, we sign off. Thanks again.
Yeah. He dropped off.